Derek, the Dopest Detailer, coming at you today from North Philly, where I am going to be interviewing my guy, Impala Will. Classic Will. One of the dopest detailers in the city. If not in the country. If you haven't heard about him, you're going to find out. Tune in today. Stay tuned. It's about to be a nice interview. A lot of knowledge, a lot of information. The brother got a lot of good things to say, a lot of energy to put out there.
My only advice is don't give up, continue.
Just stay tuned, it's about to go down. What brought you into the game?
I've been in cars since a kid, believe it or not. So everybody else was getting in trouble for acting a fool in school. I was getting in trouble for drawing cars all day.
For drawing cars all day?
All day. I literally would sit there every single day and just draw cars. I got teased about it when I was a young boy, all that, but I grew up around cars.
Right. You're a young dude and you're heavy into classic cars.
Yeah.
We all know you as the classic car dude, classic car Will, right. Impala Will. So your name is synonymous with the types of cars that you're into. Right. You had an S550, a Mercedes, and you had a Maserati. You went through all of that, and it was like, right. That's not where your passion was at.
Still had to come back to these.
You still came back to these.
Always.
So it was, you just have a love for these right here.
And the luxury is nice, but the classic is different.
Right.
But I like pieces like this because it's not something you're gonna see every day.
Right.
You're not gonna drive down the street and somebody say, yo, I got the same one. You ain't got this.
Right. So how long have you been detailing?
As far as my own business, it's been about to be 4 years now on my own. I thought I was detailing before, you know, coming up. That's how I made my little money on the side. I used to work, I used to detail Saturdays, Sundays, along with having 2 jobs right out of high school. And I was doing a little interior shampoos, wash, and things like that. But when I started working for FC Kerbeck, and Nate taught me how to do
FC Kerbeck. Tell me about a little bit about FC Kerbeck. What's that?
FC Kerbeck is a dealership out in Palmyra, New Jersey. They sell vehicles, Bentleys, Rolls Royce, Aston Martins, Lamborghinis, etc.
High-end, exotic dealership. So, what did you do there? You detailed there?
I did everything there.
Okay.
So when I first started working there, when I was about 18, I ran a car lot. I also was inside doing the car wash. That's how I started off. I got fired. Somebody last out speeding in a Bentley, which wasn't true.
Right.
But they let me go. I wound up coming back. From there, that's actually when I picked up my hustle because I vowed from that day when they let me go that I would never rely on the job. I was 19, I had my first apartment. I had 2 old schools at the time. I lost everything when I lost that job.
So you being an entrepreneur, mm-hmm. That entrepreneur spirit inside of you it just had to come out.
Yeah, that's when it started.
For you it was like I can't, you couldn't cage it, right? You couldn't cage it any longer.
Yeah, so,
got it.
I started hustling with the cars. I was buying little box Chevys with like a stack, 1,500. Turn around, flip them. At that time, I was only starting off making like a $500 profit, which to me that was cool. I was good with it. From there, I built the name. People out of state learned about me from Florida, all over. I sold my first vehicle out of state to somebody from Miami, which was a 75 Nova. From there, like I said, I built the name.
So it wasn't just detailing for you. You just got into all different.
Detailing didn't come out until later.
Right. I kind of looked at you and I said, I'm gonna go by. Anybody that knows you, I'm gonna go see. Will the detailer, Impala Will the detailer. But that would be cutting you short because you do so much more than just detailing. Right. Like you restore cars, you sell cars, you transport cars, like literally all over the country. Right. So for those that don't know, like you. People put in orders with you, find certain things, you go grab it for them and get it to them. Like this was a rare find. You don't see this car out on the streets. This is going to turn your head. You know what I mean? Like somebody can pull up in the newest car on the block and you pull up next to them on this, you're going to get more attention. People are going to see you more than anything. So let me ask you a little bit about, you and your entrepreneurial detailing spirits. Would you say you're in love or in like with the business of detailing?
I would have to say It's a love thing.
It's a love thing?
I tell anybody with anything you do in life, you gotta love it. If
Okay.
you don't love it, then you're not gonna put your best foot forward. If
Right.
you don't love it.
Right.
If you're going to a job every day just because I'm trying to make this check Friday, but you can't wait to get out of there, what are you really doing? Are you really putting your skills using your skills to the best ability, or are you just giving enough so you can get past?
Right.
I love cars.
Did this start out as a side hustle or as a business for you?
This definitely was a side hustle. Did I see it get to this point, me having a business and making a crazy revenue? Honestly, I did.
Right.
Like I said, this was selling my cars was priority because that's what always run the bank. That's what always kept the food on the table, kept money in my pocket. I was able to work for myself for years at a time with just strictly selling cars. Wake up when I want. But what happened was I got too comfortable with that. I'm not a lazy person. I like to work. So I called her back. I tried to get back up there to work, and they accepted me back. And that's how I learned. This detailing, I picked this up in less than a year.
Nice.
I learned this detail in less than a year.
So you're detailing now. How long have you been doing it, you said?
Now it's been, like I said, about 4 years on my own.
And that's funny because another thing that I noticed about you and what you do is, for you to be such a young cat, you do a lot of old school methods. Like I see you with the rotary, with the big boy DeWalt, the dinosaur. You cutting paint, like you really digging into paint. You know?
Like a lot of
Yeah, nah, you like really taping up cars
Not
and
to take nothing from nobody, but I'm old school. I hung around older people. The process was when we was at the dealership, you wash and you play the vehicle down. After that, then we cut it with the compound. Then we wipe it down thoroughly, make sure everything's out the cracks and the crevice. We washing it thoroughly again. We now polish it with the buffer. We also add hand wax to seal it. So these are the steps that I use at the dealership, but I also use here at my shop. So I'm not cutting the corners. I'm using the same materials that I use on these exotic cars and anything like that. So you're going to get your buck when you come to me versus some other detailers out here. Like I said, they're one step in it. For those that don't know what one step is, it's compound polish together, and that's not going to get your vehicle's paint at the precise point that it can be.
so for you, it's just you're not gonna skip any steps.
No.
You're not gonna do anything.
Right.
You're not gonna do anything to speed up the process.
Yeah.
You're gonna take your time with it, and
it's like cooking in the kitchen.
Right.
It's better to slow cook things.
Right.
Some things have to be slow cooked. You can't rush it. It's not going to have the same taste. It's not going to have the same texture.
right. What's the hardest part about being an entrepreneur?
I'm going to have to say you have to know how to budget. And the main thing I tell everybody, the number one rule is you have to know how to save. If you can't save, you can't get nowhere in life.
And that's what, all, especially the younger cats coming into this game, this is about, I tell them that it's about discipline, self-discipline, because we don't have a boss, we don't have an overseer, we are the overseer of ourselves, and we're disciplining ourselves, so that makes it that much more harder, you know what I mean? Because
One false move, it could be over.
one false move and it could be over, like you said, you know what I mean? So have you ever felt like quitting?
Definitely. Working for yourself, for me particularly, I'm working for myself and by myself. So all the work that's on my page, I don't have someone working under me that's giving me. Yeah,
But
it's overwhelming.
over every car that I think it's fair to say every car that leaves out of here looks like it's been detailed to some degree.
Exactly.
Fair enough? Fair statement? So, when you say detail, some would say, oh, there's no way you can detail, what most would consider detail. And, look, at the end of the day, who writes the rules? You do for what you consider to be a detail. Every car that leaves out of here, I'm sure to some degree, it's like that's been detailed. Even if it's been a regular wash, it's been detailed. You've cleaned it to the point where, okay, they got what they paid for, and then some.
I had customers come here all the time, and they may drop their vehicles off to get done, especially first-time customers, and they think their vehicle's been waxed.
Right.
No, this is just a wash.
Right.
I just gained a few customers this week off of it. I had a guy, Porsche 911 here, and some guys walked in off the street and was talking to me, and they was like, what did you do to this car? And I'm like, just a professional wash.
Right.
They said, you didn't wax it or nothing? I said, no, this is just a professional. And what wound up happening was, I gave them my business card, they booked appointments with me, and went from there. And the biggest thing about business is, well, one thing I had to learn was networking is definitely a big plus and something that you need nowadays. I didn't network back in the day. People see me in traffic. I was known for always having different cars.
Right.
Of course, everybody's minds was going.
But we're going to get to that. But
Okay.
let's go back to the quitting part.
As an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
have you ever felt like quitting?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And getting a job?
Definitely. It gets overwhelming at times. I had the volume of work that I had was so crazy to the point where it's though, like I said, I'm doing everything myself. I got exhausted.
Right.
I got exhausted.
Right.
One of the shop locations that I had, I used to go at 8 in the morning, but it was booming so much that I wasn't done until about 1, 2 in the morning.
Right.
Having to drive an hour home, an hour back to work just to do it all over. And at that time, I was working 7 days a week.
Right.
So, yeah, definitely got overwhelming. Definitely thought about quitting. I ran into a lot of customers that didn't appreciate my work,
Right.
didn't appreciate my time.
Right.
I got people that come off the street and they want to haggle prices. When you go to these name brand stores, or you go to Walmart, anything else, you don't haggle with them. So why haggle with me?
Right.
And I'm giving you so much more.
So
for
these
your money.
things, were discouraging.
Definitely.
Made it, nothing is worse than, not feeling appreciated
Definitely.
for your work. You know what I mean? You feel like, I'm already giving you rock bottom low prices, and I don't feel like I'm getting the respect from you as a client or from people in the community or whatever. Sometimes it don't feel like you're doing enough. Is that what you're saying?
That
That's a
too,
fair
and then
assessment?
I can also say another thing that's real discouraging that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to is when we go through times where it gets slow.
Right.
That's
That's enough to make you just say,
No,
yo,
definitely.
I don't want to do this no more.
This is me recently, and this is like, I don't sugarcoat nothing.
Right.
I'm raw. I just tell the
Right.
truth.
And I'm asking you this because it's some young cats out there that's watching this
Right.
that they're going through their trials and tribulations.
Right.
They're brand new to this game. They don't have people that they can go to and talk to
Right.
and have these types of conversations with. So then they feel like it's just them
Right.
that are going through that.
Right. And
It's
no,
just
it's-
my business that's slow. It's just my customers that are pain in the asses.
No.
It's just my employees that aren't showing up for work. It's like a multitude of things that are happening that are making entrepreneurs like yourself and like me. I'm 21 years in the game,
Right.
but I still go through things as if I just started.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And
It doesn't matter what stature you're at. We all go through the same thing.
right,
Like I said, for me, I'm 4 years strong. This was the first year where as though I ran into a slow point.
right,
During the pandemic, I boomed. During winter, I boomed. I never had a slow moment. This past year was the first time I experienced that. Mentally, that bothers me.
right.
That messed with my head to the point where it's though it actually made me think about, do I need to find a different profession?
Right.
Because I don't play about my money.
Right.
Of course, I like to make money like
Right.
anybody else.
Right.
I have responsibilities as well as I have things that I want to accomplish. So, but don't get discouraged. That's to anybody that's going through those things. There's gonna be good days. There's gonna be bad days. But reverting back to what I said earlier, that's why you have to save.
Mm-hmm.
You have to save and on top of saving, when those days are busy, you might be tired and say, all right, my schedule right now is 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of days ago, I was tired. I pushed myself. I wound up doing 12 hours. I stayed 9 to 9. And I'm gonna give you an example. That was a $700 day for me, right? The following day was slow. I made $55.
Right.
You understand?
What motivates you to come back in the next day after you made $55 and you're down and did it get you down first of all?
Moments like that have before in the past.
Right.
Now is again, I have the mindset of every day is not going to be the same.
Right.
Also, you don't know what's going to happen the next day. Some people count themselves out before your day even starts. You
Right.
can't do that.
Right.
Because
You never know what's gonna come through that door.
exactly. When I first started, I had a few workers that I had hired and gave jobs. I pulled a couple of young boys off the street. But when I explained to them was, it might be a day where it's though I've been in my shop when it first started. and I sat there literally a whole 8 hours and didn't get one customer. That was $0 for the day, right?
Right.
Now, if I decided to leave, let's say at 3 o'clock, and now here is Joe off the street came at 4 o'clock looking for service, I missed out on that money because I counted myself out.
Right.
I decided to leave early because I've been put up about 6-7 hours already that nobody showed up.
Right.
So don't count yourself out. Continue going. There's gonna be good days, there's gonna be bad days.
Gonna be good
Nothing-
days, gonna be
nothing's
bad
gonna be
days.
perfect.
Definitely. How do you, and I think you kind of touched bases on this already, you said because you're from the community and you understand the demographics of the community, you know, what the finances is like around here or whatever the situation is. So I'm really not gonna get deep into, you know, your specific prices per se, but what I will say is, do you think it's a fair assessment or a fair advice to give to guys that are stuck in this rut about how to price? Do you think it's fair to tell them, listen, price according to what it takes for you to live? Worry about, you know, figure out what your cost of living is, what your cost of running your business is, and price accordingly to that, as opposed to looking at how much the other guy charged and then say, well, he's charging $85 for a wash.
Never compare yourself to anybody.
Right.
I don't care if they're better. I don't care if they're not as good as you. Your price should be your price and based on you. That's it. Simple, plain as that.
Right.
When you're first starting off, I always suggest that you start with low prices. I'm gonna give an example. When I got my first shop, and I laugh now because I'll never do this ever again. Right? I know you say never say never.
Right.
I was doing buck jobs for $100.
Okay.
I was washing cars for 10.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing washing vacuums for 15. You understand?
That was back in 1920 when he was doing that, by the way.
But again, that was me first starting off.
$10. Oh
Right.
my
Now,
God.
listen, the crazy thing about this is, people still complain. That's why I said, listen, you can't please nobody. You can't please nobody. I don't care.
They still complain.
Listen,
You hear that?
I don't
$10
care.
and they still complain, so it ain't you.
It don't matter what your price is. You can slash off 50% off.
Right.
I did what works for me, and in turn, it's still working for me. And now I'm at the stage where as though I barely, honestly, run into any customer that ran in one last week. This is the first one out of 3 years.
Right.
That has complained about a price that I've given them for a car.
Right.
But the other thing is also, they don't know the work that goes into all this stuff.
Right.
People think that, okay, a buck job. And when I tell them it's going to take about 8 hours, 8 hours?
Right.
Yes, I'm on your vehicle non-stop for 8 hours. I don't take breaks.
Right.
Every single day that I have worked at a shop, I have yet to ever take a lunch break.
Right.
I work straight through. Once I start on your vehicle, I don't stop until it's done.
Because I want to get in and get out.
You have to pay me for my time. You have to pay me for my skill, my work. I'm valuable.
Right.
You understand? And you have to
And
learn your
and
value.
the thing is, you understand your value. You're not afraid to stand on that. And, you know, listen, at the end of the day, I always tell people, you know, if 100 people walk through my door and I get to bag all of them, I'm doing something wrong. If 100 people walk through my door and I bag 40, 50 of them, I'm doing something right. You should not be, you know, if everybody is saying yes to you, you're doing something wrong. And I say that to say, you know, you're trying to please everybody. And that's where you get caught up at. You're trying to please everybody. You can't please everybody. You'll burn yourself out trying to please everybody. You'll get 100 people that walk through the door and 100 people say yes to you. And out of that 100, I can assure you, 40 or 50 of them, they want blood.
Right.
Because sweat and tears ain't enough. They want blood out of you.
If you were genuinely supporting me and you're a regular customer, I might do things just to look out. You might have came for a wash and back and have a scratch in your fender. I might knock it out just because you always come out of loyalty.
And I appreciate that. And I know you got a client that you need to take care of. Let you get to that. But in closing, if you had any advice to give the new guys, older guys, just guys that need to hear something different, you had any quick advice to give to them about how to survive in this game, how to grow in this game, how to maintain in this game, what would it be, Will?
Only advice that I would tell you, honestly, keep doing what you're doing. Stay, keep continuing. Don't give up. Don't quit. When I first was detailing for FC Curveback, I was about to quit. Black cars, everybody know that black cars is the hardest vehicles to detail, and I was going to quit. A detailer pulled me to the side. He told me, he said, "Listen, if you quit, I'm gonna laugh at you." He said, "I got my first 2 houses off of doing this detailing." That stuck with me. He also pulled me to the side. He showed me his way of detailing. I was able to take what he showed me and put my twist to it and made it work, and look where I'm at today. I'm not saying I'm at the top of the game. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm still learning daily. You're going to continue to learn daily. It's just like life. You're going to learn every day. But don't give up. Keep going. When you have people around that been in the game for some time, I ain't gonna call them old head. I ain't gonna call them old head. But listen, when you got people that been around in the game for some time, listen, it's humble yourself. It's nothing wrong with asking a question and trying to get some more knowledge. You won't make it nowhere in life unless you ask questions, unless you try to learn. Everybody thinks they know everything, and that's what sets people back. So yeah, my only advice is don't give up, continue doing, do more research, learn different things, stop being a dinosaur like I am sometimes. Sometimes it works, but you still need to learn new things, which I'm trying to do right now.
And in closing, I'm just going to say, one of the things I was going to ask him in closing was if he had a mentor himself, are there other detailers in the city, in the country, that he go to for advice, that he learns things off of, and quiet as kept, he doesn't even know this. He's gonna learn this today. I'm 21 years in the game. He knows that already. He's 4 years in the game, but I've learned a lot from him. In his years of being in this business, as I've been in it 21, he's been in it 4. I've learned a lot from this young man. He's taught me a lot, not even knowing. So, and we've formed a bond, from a distance, just off of mutual respect for one another and mutual respect for the craft that we call our own. We've honed in on our skills. We treat each other like family. We speak. We promote one another. One thing about Will, if you don't know anything about him, he will promote another business in a heartbeat. That's just what he does. It doesn't matter if you're another detailer, if you sell products, whatever you do, he's always been that guy. And for him to be a young guy and have that mentality, that's a strong attribute. That says a lot about him as an individual. So again, this is the dopest detailer. One of the dopest detailers that I know in the city, Impala Will, Classic Will, whatever y'all want to call him. He's definitely one of the dopest. Come check him out. He's here in Philly. Please shoot out your Instagram real quick. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
If you want to look me up, my business page is Will's Classic Autos and Detailing. There you'll find all my detailing, all the classic vehicles that are sell, locate, rent, photo shoots, videos. We'll touch that at another time.
All that. He does all that. He does all that. He does all that. It's a very humble dude, but if you want to rent this for your prom, for your wedding, for your divorce, whatever you want to do, you can rent this joint. You know what I mean? Or he's #1 dude. Again, thank you for tuning in to the Dopest Detailer. I am Derek Coates, one of the Dopest Detailer. This is my man Will, Impala Will, Dopest Detailer here in Philadelphia. We out. Peace. Appreciate you, baby.
Appreciate it.
Got it.